Buenos dias. Good morning. I understand that you are all involved in great work trying to drive change here in Colombia. So I want to say from the outset what a great honor it is for me to meet with you because it is people such as you that are going to create the bright future for Colombia. Northern Ireland suffered a violent conflict which lasted over nearly 40 years. And in 1998, we had a peace agreement. And for the last 20 years, we've been trying to implement that peace agreement. I will ask each of you in a moment to introduce yourselves so that I know who you are and the type of projects that you're doing.
Colombia is one of 46 countries which is implementing the active citizens methodology around the world. In the community where I'm working, I'm contributing to rescue culture and the historical memory of this little town which has been the victim of conflict. From exploring and documenting the historical memory of the area, I'm attempting to document with visual chronicles the features and components of the culture present in that region. I am working through art, sports, and recreation, and I'm holding workshops with these women to reconstruct the historical memory and reconciliation through these strategies. That I act as a facilitator to empower these young people. Their families have been the victims of this armed conflict. So to tell stories via radio, to hear about the stories of conflict in the municipality, to tell people what happened so that we don't forget what happened there, and also starting to develop peace initiatives for citizenship reconciliation. So I asked them, what do you like to do? And they said, well, women at home, housework, that's it. But what do you like to do? What do you do, Bray? What do you work? What's your work? We bake bread. You don't have any other additional activities for leisure, to have a good time? No. So I wanted to focus more on showing them that they have the ability to start reconstructing the social fabric from their own capacities and abilities, and not necessarily through financial reparation or being given land to be able to do that.
What I loved was that and in many ways you've stolen half of what's in this, because a lot of the themes that I will talk about in Connected Citizens is around empowerment. And I think every one of you understood the need to empower communities, not to go in and control, but to use your skills to help empower others.
We shared our vision for Northern Ireland for the future, 40 young people who had never been in a room together. And out of that night was born Young Influencers, like a community of young people who wanted to make Northern Ireland one of the most remarkable places in the world by 2030. Basically, it was an article that came out in 2013, and it says that 2/3 of young people see their future outside of Northern Ireland. Our reaction to that was to gather people, to start sharing ideas. Very simply, just gather in coffee shops, in bars, and talk about the future of Northern Ireland.
I'm launching at One Young World this week this initiative called Connected Citizens, which is all about me sharing the principles and the experiences that I've had, very much based on the values that we had in Young Influencers, and giving them to you to say, take whatever of these are helpful and incorporate them into your projects. And what I'm trying to do with Connected Citizens is connect like-minded people within within our own country, but also internationally, so that you can connect with people like Peter and myself, so that we can help each other. Because one of the challenges of being a change agent, of being passionate, of trying to drive change, is that sometimes you can be very alone. So I work, as I say, Center for Democracy and Peace Building. So I'm day in, day out thinking about democracy and capacity building for our politicians and peace building. So what we need to do is make sure that there is a constant bridge between peace and prosperity, or peace and opportunity. And that's the responsibility of us as change agents. Building the resilience to deal, because there will be obstacles to your peace. There will be frustrations, and I'm sure many of you have felt those in the projects that you have started. And that building of resilience is so important, and I'm hoping that Connected Citizens can help to give tools to build your resilience, to continue the very important work you do. It's okay for people to have different opinions and to be able to disagree, passionately disagree, but that doesn't mean that the other person is your enemy or is wrong. And it's trying to create that space for those type of conversations. If you want to drive change, whether it's here, in Africa, in Australia, in Asia, in Europe, there are 5 interconnected steps that you need to think about. So the first one is the connective values. And I think in many ways, you guys have that already today, because what you have done is you have come together because you're passionate about making a positive contribution to your society. That richness and that diversity broadens your mind, and it also encourages you to think outside of your own discipline, your own way of thinking. What I encourage you to do is have the courage to say, well, we've all got ideas, we all have different strengths and skills, so let's sit down and work collectively. You take a big whiteboard and start thinking about how you could create a collective vision that you could work around, and that leads to a common purpose, which is much more powerful than any one person's vision or idea. You have to then build relationships of trust to bring your vision to life, and that's very hard, particularly if it's somebody that you may have traditionally disagreed with. But that is the basis upon which relationships will be tested when you build those relationships of trust. What you are doing is not just cutting edge and inspirational in Colombia, it is inspirational on our planet. And this is why I want to create this space on Connected Citizens on this webpage, and may grow into something else, for people to tell those stories, to share them.